So here's a story that'll infuriate you. There's a doctor, this lady right here, who might get away with doing female genital mutilation on multiple young girls. So this is from CNN. They say, a Detroit judge has dropped nearly all the charges against a Michigan doctor accused of performing female genital mutilation on at least 9 underage girls, according to court documents. In a decision filed Tuesday, Judge Bernard Friedman ruled that the federal female genital mutilation law is unconstitutional and that Congress did not have the right to criminalize the practice, and therefore he dismissed 6 of 8 charges in the United States' first federal case involving the procedure. Quote, Congress overstepped its bounds by legislating to prohibit female genital mutilation, Friedman wrote, calling it a local criminal activity for the states to regulate, not Congress. Dr. Jumana Nagarwala is the lead defendant in the case, while the charges of conspiring to commit and committing female genital mutilation, as well as aiding and abetting others in doing so, have been dropped. Nagarwala still faces charges of conspiring to travel with intent to engage in illicit sexual conduct and conspiring to obstruct an official proceeding. She was charged alongside Dr. Fakhruddin Attar, his wife, Farida Attar, and 5 other residents of Michigan and Minnesota. Okay, so now the decision from the judge is not actually a statement on the morality or ethics of doing female genital mutilation. In fact, the judge makes clear this is a terrible practice and it shouldn't be done ever. But what the judge's decision is a very strict letter of the law argument that the federal government simply doesn't have the jurisdiction on this matter, that basically the individual states would have to legislate against female genital mutilation, and any charges on this front would have to be brought about by the states. Now, I'm not exactly sure how or why he came to that conclusion. I mean, I guess he's making some sort of a federalism-based argument, but it's just, I would just be like, why? Why can't the federal government ban something like that? It just seems like, of course they can. If they want to, they can. And they should, by the way. And so should the states. The states should ban it too. But what I would do is, you could charge somebody doing female genital mutilation. Why can't you just charge them with, like, aggravated assault of a minor? Because that's what it is. If you're taking, by the way, they were like between 6 and 9 years old when they did this. If you're, chopping off clits of between 6 and 9-year-olds, are you kidding me? Charge them with something. You're going to get them on something. Whether it's assault, I don't know, something. But just kind of let them get away with it. It's like, what? And maybe there will be charges in another realm. Maybe somehow the state can bring the charges against, but I don't know. But either way, to get off with what's happened so far, it seems incredibly bizarre to me and really wild. And listen, this gets into a larger conversation. Should female genital mutilation be banned? The answer is yes. Now, I actually go a step further, and I don't mean to make the conversation not as clear and distinct and to muddy the waters here, but, when circumcision, there's a lot of, like, rationalization that happens around circumcision of men, too, where they act like, oh, that one's totally fine because something lowers the incidence of, sexually transmitted diseases. So, no, that's a bullshit argument. And even if it's true, that doesn't mean anything. That's not a reason that you should chop off the tips of baby dicks. I mean, what? Like, even if it reduced it, hey, you can reduce the incidence of, sexually transmitted diseases 100% if you want. Totally chop off the dicks. Does that mean we should do it? No, that's not an argument. That's not an argument at all. So I find it funny when even, like, smart people act like, well, I mean, obviously regular circumcision makes perfect sense. Then you haven't thought about it much, because what's the genesis of it? No pun intended using the word genesis. Religion. And also, just at face value, you're chopping off the tip of a baby dick. Now, I'm circumcised, so perhaps, I shouldn't be the one to lead the charge on this argument, but it just strikes me as an obviously primitive and barbaric practice where you're chopping off the tips of baby dicks. Now, if you grow up and you want to do it on your own volition and you say, yeah, I want to get circumcised, okay, fine, I'm in favor of freedom. You can do whatever the fuck you want. But to forcibly do it to babies, and again, this is not me saying that female genital mutilation and male mutilation are exactly the same thing, because I think the evidence is relatively clear that it's way more painful when you do it to women. But I am against genital mutilation across the board. Bold stance. Bold stance on this, on Secular Talk on the Kyle Kulinski Show. I am against genital mutilation of all sorts. So I am obviously a moral hero for taking this very obvious stand. But anyway, crazy story. Had to fill you guys in. And it's a damn shame. I hope they get these people who are doing female genital mutilation on something.